because she has brought us in another one of her amazing exclusives. It really is something. I guess what we'll do, Isabel, I just sort of set it up here. This is a guy called Adam who used to work at an asylum seeker hotel, was pretty dismayed by a lot of the stuff that he witnessed. After he was made redundant, he decided to go back into a hotel and do some filming to reveal some of what goes on behind these very closed doors of our asylum seeker hotels. He put that on YouTube. It got about 250,000 views, and pretty soon afterwards, he could hardly believe it, 10 coppers. 10 coppers, we'll see this in your interview, knocked on his door, charged in. They got his disabled mother downstairs. We had the chief officer going, "Get that stair lift working!" She's disabled. She has to use the stair lift. I mean, see, ridiculous scenes. And all he'd done was film something in an asylum seeker hotel, put it on YouTube. So why, as the government, why are the authorities so sensitive about this? So I guess what we'll do is we'll show your interview and then come back to you. Anything you'd like to say before we go to it?
Yeah. Just very quickly, I mean, why is there such fuss? Because put simply, the government doesn't want us to see what goes on behind closed doors. And just to be clear, Adam hasn't actually been charged with anything at this point. He was arrested.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Those 10 riot police, they weren't armed with anything except, well, I imagine they had some batons, I don't know, but they weren't carrying guns or anything. But this was a very, very aggressive response by riot police. And as yet, he has not been charged, but that still hangs over him.
Indeed. So he's been arrested on suspicion of stealing a meal, chicken pasta it was, that he estimates was valued at 77 pence. So make of that what you will, folks. But anyway, let's go straight over. Let's watch Isabel's exclusive interview with Adam.
So my name's Adam. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Manchester, lived there all my life. And I've worked in a migrant hotel from 2021 until 2024.
So why did you want to talk about your experiences?
So I think a lot of people don't know what happens, the amount of public money that is being spent. And obviously at a time where taxes are going up and, you know, people are struggling to live, the money being spent, it needs to be known.
And it's not normal for anyone from the street or whatever to be able to see inside these asylum hotels, is it? You know, people have protested outside, but it's what goes on behind closed doors that voters don't get to see.
Yeah, exactly. All these migrant hotels, they have a high security presence more than you'll get at any other place, to be honest. When I was at the hotel, I documented the time, so I thought, oh no, this is wrong. So when I actually got made redundant because the hotel closed down, but then I thought, you know what, let's just put it to bed. I'll leave it, you know, there's no point kicking up a fuss, etc. Then about a year later, the stuff in there about migrant hotels came about in the news. So then I thought, I'm sitting on all this information. There's a lot of speculation, so I've got all the information here. So I just decided to bring it out into the public. I thought the idea of to actually go into one of these migrant hotels myself and do some undercover filming, some undercover journalist work.
Risky.
Yeah.
So talk to us, how did you do that, and how long did you do it for? So
I walked into 3 hotels. It was as simple as walking through the front door. So as you can see, I'm a little brown. I'm a mixed heritage.
Okay.
So when I walk to the front doors and security look up, they see a young brown lad. So they think, oh, he must be one of the asylum seekers. So it's a case of, for all 3, just walking through the front door. When I worked in a migrant hotel, I had some very shaky footage. Obviously, if I got caught filming when I was working, I would have been sacked, dismissed. We've all got bills to pay. So this time I thought I can get some good filming, HD filming, and do a full tour there. Also, it would, for myself, it would put to bed some of the rumours. There's a lot of rumours online about these migrant hotels, which are wrong. People are saying they're jihadi training camps. You know, there's a weapons cache. They're ready to take over from the British Army when the British public, you know, say no. So there's a lot of these rumours that are ridiculous, but there is a lot to talk about the public money being spent. So I did some undercover filming. I partnered up with a YouTube guy, so he got some good views, about 250,000 views. About 3 weeks after they got put online, I was doing some banging at my door at 8 in the morning. I opened the blinds and I see 10 police officers on my drive.
10?
10 police
Are you
officers.
sure? 10?
The CCTV doesn't lie. 10 police officers in full riot gear, ski masks on, face shields, and instinctively, like I've never been in trouble with the law, so I was like, oh my God, what's happened? So I ran downstairs, opened the door. I was like, is everything okay? They barged through. They says, are you Adam? And I said, yes. And they said, you're under arrest for burglary. I said, burglary? I said, I never burgled anything in my life. Anyway, 4 of the officers went upstairs. They went into my mother's room. So my mother's disabled. She's housebound and got stage 3 Parkinson's. So she really struggles to get about. They tried to drag her downstairs by her arms, even though there's a stair lift there. So I said to the sergeant, I was like, Sergeant, there's a stair lift there. I was like, just calm down, defuse the situation. And he turned around and shouted, he's like, get this stair lift working now. Wow. So they put her on the stair lift, and by the time the stair lift came down, my mother was too scared to get up. She was shaking, so 2 of them had to pick her up by the arms, escort her into the lounge. So we all got put in the lounge. I tried to film inside, but all my devices were seized. Even my girlfriend was there. They took her phone as well. They did a full search of the property. This was including the loft, the garage, the back garden. They searched absolutely everything.
And all this was for doing a bit of undercover filming in a migrant hotel?
Well, I still had no idea what this burglary charge was. It wasn't until I got to the custody desk, and just a caveat to that, they actually took me to a police station. There was 8 police stations closer to my house than this, so they actually took me to one 16 miles away. I don't know if that was just, give me an extra bumpy ride or something like that.
Nice.
But I still had no idea what it was about until I got to the custody desk, and the arresting officer says this gentleman, he's entered a hotel, which is a migrant hotel, and he consumed food and didn't pay for. And then once I was interviewed, I got actually interviewed by CID, by detective constables, and they showed me CCTV of a gentleman who looked like me. And the accusation was taking some chicken pasta and not paying for it.
Right, I see.
Yes.
And how much should you have paid for it? Was there a possibility to pay for it?
So there was no possibility to pay, no tills, nobody asking for money. I've ran the numbers through AI of how much it would cost with serving it for 300 people, and they said it would be about 77p.
Right.
It's for a show of force, like for someone, so I've never been in trouble with the law. I don't even have a speeding fine there. And for a case of a burglary, especially when they've said the allegation is food, so there will be no burgled items on property, to send 10 officers with ski masks and riot shields to do an early morning raid, execute a search warrant, take my phone, my work laptop, my home computer, my iPad, to take all the electronic devices, which he said I won't get back for over 1 year. This is a show of force. So when you don't show what happens in these asylum hotels, if you do, the full force of the law will come down on you and will try and scare you into basically shutting you up.
Talk to me about the meal service that they get.
So they would get three meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. There would always be hot options even for breakfast, but we would have like a fruit stand, so there would be 3 types of fruit. There would be crisps, chocolate, cakes, etc. This would be there to help themselves if they wanted seconds, etc. But you'd have chicken, rice, lasagna, pasta. It'd be a different meal every day.
The reason I raise this is because they weren't always, in your experience, that grateful for the food, were they? And this is topical because there's actually been a case going through the courts this week about some migrants that were actually so angry with the quality of their food that they became quite violent about it. Fortunately, hopefully you didn't witness that, but you said that there were a number of protests during your time there about the quality of the food.
Yeah, so we actually had what they said, there was hunger strikes. So we had that twice. So when it was to come down for dinner time at 7 o'clock, we opened like the restaurant barrier, and usually there's a queue there, they're waiting, and we're like, well, there's nobody here. We stick our head out into reception and we see 30, 40 of the guys all sat on the floor with their arms and legs crossed. I was like, what's going on here? And then any other asylum seekers coming to go to the restaurant, they were stopping them. So as a hotel, you're not supposed to deal directly with the asylum seekers. So Serco came along and they said they're not happy with the food. They're going on strike until the food improves. So we said, well, what do they want? Is it quality? Is it quantity? Do they want more meat, veg, side options? And both times we never got a straight answer, apart from the food is bland or it's not flavoursome.
Was there a lot of food waste? What happened to leftovers?
So for my most recent filming, when I went undercover, you can actually see it from one of they had a massive food bucket of food waste, and there was people in front of me who were just clearing the plates. A lot of food waste there. When I used to work in the hotel in the games room, I had two gentlemen from Eritrea actually have a food fight. So they got bananas and oranges that they took from the buffet, and they decided to throw that in the games room at each other, and then think it was hilarious, laugh at it, and then walk out.
And yet, I guess there are people in the UK who say they need to use food banks.
Yeah, of course. So there was a couple of women who I used to work with. They were both single mums. One lady was a teaching assistant Monday to Friday, and then she used to do every Saturday and every other Sunday because she had the bills to pay. I had another lady, she a single mum of two. She used to work 40 hours a week, and then in the last week she would either go to me or the other manager, and she was like, I'm going to borrow £40 till payday. She's like, I just need to get food, or I just need to get electric, etc. And then what she'd do, she'd come in with a Tupperware box, and then after the assignment, you could have the food, which usually wasn't good enough for them. So there would be a lot left over because they were looking and go, well, I'm not eating that today. So when the buffet closed, he would get a Tupperware box with permission from us, and he would actually, fill it up with, chicken legs and rice.
Yeah,
and
rather than
stuff.
it going in the bin.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, this is like, I can give this, for my kids tomorrow. And that's when I really thought, I was like, I've got this hard-working mother here, a single mum of two, doing 40 hours, and she's trying to get the scraps of a buffet to feed the children. With the buffet is not good enough for these asylum seekers.
A Greater Manchester police spokesperson said, on Friday the 22nd of August 2025, we arrested a 32-year-old man on suspicion of burglary following a reported incident on Friday the 1st of August 2025 in Trafford. He has been bailed pending further investigations.
Isabel Oakeshott is with me. Isabel, fantastic interview, really interesting. As I said in my monologue, we don't often get even a glimpse of what goes on behind these asylum seeker hotels, very closed doors. It is weird as soon as they become. So one day there'll be the local communities, the hub, nice little hotel with a bar and a restaurant, people having their weddings there. Then the government commandeer them, often through this company Serco or the other companies that deal contractually with the housing of migrants, asylum seekers, and literally overnight the shutters come down, the windows get blanked out, huge fences go around the hotel, they install a security gate, security guards turn up, so they turn into a completely different kind of entity, which is strange. This is interesting because the government is very keen to continue classifying them as hotels, but it's kind of difficult because hotels, although they're private property, they should have public access. So what our friend Adam did when he went back into the hotel, okay, as he said, he's got a brown skin, so they just assumed he was an asylum seeker. But you or I should be able to do that. It's a hotel, and yet we're kind of not. It has been pointed out to me that, in fairness to it's ludicrous that 10 coppers raided his house, but the fact that they were masked is standard procedure because of security reasons, in case coppers are recognised if they are on this kind of beat. Their faces should not be known. So that bit we can excuse them for. But the rest is ridiculous. 10 coppers banging his door down because ostensibly He's charged with stealing a 77p plate of chicken pasta. Not charged, I'm sorry, was arrested on suspicion of stealing some pasta. But of course, it's a lot more than that. What he seems to have done inadvertently is to have broken this really, really serious, sinister, secret law. Thou shalt not say what goes on behind closed doors in asylum seeker hotels. And if you do speak out, if you whistleblow, the government clearly will come down on you like a ton of bricks. It's very sinister, isn't it?
Well, what Adam has done here is actually incredibly brave. And the truth is that people who work inside these hotels have to sign extremely intimidating confidentiality contracts normally. So they're basically gagged. And after he left, he didn't have to sign one of those for various reasons. And after he left, he thought, well, you know, sod this, I'm going to show what really goes on. And so he set about doing it in a very, very simple way. As he explained in our interview, he was able just to walk in. The rest of us can't really get away with that. I'd love to just walk into a migrant hotel, slightly feel I might not fit in too well. And he was able, as a result of that, to document quite a bit of what goes on. And he'd actually gathered a lot of evidence just, you know, from observing when he was in his own, the one that he worked in himself. And what's happened here is that the powers that be are desperate to try to get him for something because they want to show by his example that no one else should dare do this. And so he's accused of burglary. And what does it boil down to? It boils down to the fact that he sat down and enjoyed a very, very cheap meal with some migrants, which he's worked out was worth 77 pence. What a ludicrous, completely ridiculous and inexcusable waste of the police's time and money. I think a quiet conversation would have been quite enough to put him off. He's a very law-abiding individual, as you can see from that interview. I was struck by how very reasonable he is. This is not some kind of far-right headbanger, as Keir Starmer would probably wish to imagine. This is a very, very measured young man who has plenty of good to say about some of the asylum seekers that he worked with, has plenty of good to say and sympathy to voice about the situation of some of them. But it is also somebody who started out on this process actually a lifelong Labour voter, you know, on the left of politics, and whose experience observing the horrors, frankly, inside this migrant hotel actually changed the whole way he looks at this crisis facing our country. Yeah,
and some of the details of what he talked about are pretty incendiary and annoying. You know, the fact that, you know, as he said, that they get served 3 meals a day, free of charge. We pay for them, of course. We're also paying £143 a night for every single one of them, every single migrant in the country. There's about 103,000, I believe, in asylum seekers hotels all over the country. Every single one of them, 103,000 is costing us £143 a night. They get free food. And apparently, as Adam was explaining, they don't like it often, and they stage hunger strikes, to which I'd say, all right, well, don't eat, see if I care. But there they are, apparently all sitting silently refusing to eat in the foyer of the hotel because they say the food is too bland, they don't like it. I mean, entitled, the word entitled springs to mind. And then he talks of an even sort of sadder story, really, about the fact that, you know, that day in, day out, they don't eat all the food. So all this food is going to waste, just chucked out. And he's talking about one of his female colleagues, a young mum's got 2 kids, 40 hours a week she's doing, working in the asylum seeker hotel on minimum wage, hasn't got 2 halfpennies to rub together, struggling to feed her kids up. So by sort of quiet agreement, she would bring in Tupperware boxes and fill the food that the migrants wouldn't eat or didn't eat into her Tupperware boxes, chicken, rice, pasta, as we just heard, take them home, take it all home for her kids. There's something kind of poignant and sad about that. It's a sort of snapshot of just why this crisis, this asylum seeker crisis, and these hotels are wrong on so many levels.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, this is what upsets ordinary people, voters, so deeply, is that there are people out there, honest, good, decent British taxpayers, who've lived in this country all their life and are now struggling to make ends meet, and they would love to have all the things that are provided for free without any questions asked to these mainly undocumented males that come over, break into our country effectively. There are people working in migrant hotels who are struggling to put food on the table for their children, and yet here we have, you know, these asylum seekers who, some of them are grateful, I'm sure, but all too often are not at all grateful and are literally protesting because they don't think that the food is good enough. Now, I've looked quite carefully at those videos of the food on supply there, and I'm pretty sure I could get by quite happily on that if that was, you know, if I was running away from war and terror and I was being put up in a nice hotel and wasn't having to pay for anything. I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of the British public would also be quite happy with that generous treatment, but apparently it's not good enough for some of these people. Just quickly on the figures that you cited there of the number in migrant hotels, I think we'll have to check that because they are of course changing all the time, and the government is doubtless proud that they've come down quite significantly in recent months. But why? Well, just because they're being dispersed to so-called houses of multiple occupancy.
Yeah, not many of them. I think you'll find it's still 102,000 in hotels at the moment. Well, we'll check that out. But
that is.
I mean, what are they talking about? Oh, we're moving them to military bases. 900 of them. Oh, that'll change the dial. We'll check that out. But I think I'm right. Let's go to break, and we'll leave the viewers, the audience, to digest your amazing interview, Adam's story,